The Food and Drug Administration says it may finally move to ban red dye number 3.
Yeah, that's a synthetic coloring. It's made from petroleum found in drinks, snacks, cereals, candies. On top of that, the FDA is also looking at reevaluating red dye number 40. In the last 3 years alone, 3 states have either passed or introduced laws to ban certain artificial dyes, citing research that they can cause hyperactivity in children. The FDA maintains food dyes are safe when used in ways recommended by the agency.
More on this. Let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Doctor, good to have you with us. So red dye number 3, it's been under fire for quite some time now, at least a decade. What are people most worried about when it comes to this?
Yeah, Joe and Savannah, I think the most concerning things are some of the linkages to hyperactivity disorder. There have been studies in male rats that have early predisposition to cancer. And I think overall just more concerning is that there's growing evidence that these color additives can cause harm, especially in children where your brains are growing, you don't deal with as much body mass, that can warrant a ban overall.
So, Dr. Patel, what does the research say? You just mentioned some of it, some of the things that we're concerned about with rats and with children's brains, but are there any definitive studies here on the positive or negative effects of red dye number 3?
Yeah, so the FDA advisory committee did look at a review of some of these kind of links between hyperactivity disorder, artificial food dyes, beyond red dyes, and did see that there was what we call a causal relationship. Savannah, we talk about this a lot. Sometimes we do studies and we correlate things, like you find something and you're not sure if the thing that you're talking about causes it. In this case, the advisory committee did say that upon review of many studies that they did see a causal link between exposure to color dyes and hyperactivity in children in a general population. So that, you know, that's exactly where that I think the kind of question now is that this is something that is most concerning. That study, by the way, these kind of back and forth between the advisory committees about these causal relationships is also one of the reasons that these reviews, I think, are constant and important. And right now, the FDA oversees 75% of the food supply, but we don't actually have as much study into the harm after the food is out in the market. So I think that added to these studies and kind of the advisory committees, as well as what Europe and California have done with banning a number of these substances has led to, I think, some of the kind of laws that you're seeing today, and also some of the FDA kind of action that you're finally seeing.
Yes, I mean, with states already taking action, how long could it take to see a ban like this go into effect? And just what would be the impact of a nationwide ban?
Right. So let's talk about what California did. California did this last year, but their effect won't go into place into 2027. That's because you need to give time for food manufacturers to not only put warnings into place, labels into place, but also to put substitutes. That doesn't happen overnight, Joe. So I wouldn't expect anything that could be done this year or next year to actually take place for several years to give people that same amount of time. But I want to just warn people, red dyes and some of these other dyes that we're talking about might be very obvious in bright drinks or in candies. That's what I thought. I was surprised to learn that you can find this in everything from casseroles to kind of products that I wouldn't think had red dye, like vegan meat products, for example. So it's in a lot of things. Look at your labels until then.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.